Best part of the morning, boys. Let's go, let's go. So it is a beautiful, beautiful morning here in Michigan. I hope you're all having a great and amazing day. My name is Caleb and welcome back to another video. One of the best parts about my backyard is so we have this forest back there and you can see the sun rising over it. Absolutely beautiful, 10 out of 10 recommend. All right. So I hope you're all doing great today. It's beautiful. It's 8 a.m. here in Michigan and sun is shining. It's gonna be a great day, I can tell. Hope you guys are all having a great one too. So the topic of today's video is going to be a 90-day review of my Corvette Z06. Now, I didn't actually purchase this car 90 days ago. I purchased it a little bit more than that, but I went through a period where I bought it and then I didn't drive it for about a month, maybe 5 weeks, because it was winter at the time. So I'm counting this as 90 days of me actually being able to drive and experience the car. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, in all of its glory, the 2006 Corvette Z06. So I'm going to break this video down into the pros and the cons of this vehicle that I have come up with in the last 90 days of ownership and driving the car. But before we get into that, I wanted to break down just a few tiny things, give you updates on the car, and just to kind of give you a better perspective of the opinions I have to come. So like we mentioned earlier, this is a 2006 Z06 Le Mans Blue. Everything about it is bone stock and was bone stock when I purchased it, except for this aftermarket spoiler, which that was on there when I purchased the car. And I did include this sticker that adds a couple horsepower as well. But other than those two things, that's really all that's done to the car, and that was done to the car. I have not put any work into this vehicle, just driving it stock and normally as it came out of the factory. I purchased this car in super late January. I paid about $32 after tax and everything for this car, out the door, everything. And after that, it stayed in storage for about a month, maybe 5-6 weeks. So at that point, I was able to then drive the car. I live in Michigan, so I did have the winter to deal with. So then after that, I was then able to drive the car, experience it, and really put it to good use. So if you want the 10-second version of this video, I can pretty much sum this up in the first sentence of this pros list of things. I absolutely love this car. Okay, it's great and it's amazing, and I really don't have that many cons about it, but there's going to be some stuff later that I do think is worth mentioning that I think you would love to hear. So I generally really do love this car, and I'm very, very happy with my purchase. I think my money was well spent, which kind of leads us into pro number one here. This car screams value. I was able to get all of this. Yes, it's a 2006, so it's not brand new. It doesn't have the brand new features of today's time, but I got all this for 30 grand. That's a brand new Chevy Equinox rolling off the lot. So think about that. I'm really happy with the value that I got for my dollar on this car. I can keep up with a Lamborghini Gallardo of a similar year for half the price. So that's absolutely incredible. This car is just a value like this. Everything about this car, you get so much for your money. And in addition to you getting a lot for your money, because this is a Z06, your dollar is not going to depreciate as much as it would on a base model. If a car is either a limited edition or a special model of that car, like a GT500 or a ZL1 or something like that, it's not going to depreciate as much as the base model would. So I went from my Mustang GT to this, and I feel like my dollar was more well spent on a vehicle like this. That's one, gonna hold its value. That's not the actual reason why I purchased it, but I felt more comfortable about making the purchasing decision because my dollar's not just going out the window. So moving on to our next pro here, one thing that is
kind of heckled a lot online about is the C6 interior. A lot of people do not like the interior on the C6 Corvette. It was the reason why GM really stepped up their interior game moving on to the C7. And like, that's also the reason why the C7 weighs so much more than the C6. And I'm here to tell you that I really don't think it's that bad. So, full disclaimer, I have never owned like a super luxurious car with a crazy nice interior, but I do work as a valet, so I'm in very, very nice cars with very nice interiors all the time. So it's not like I never have seen a nice interior. But this Corvette interior is definitely a step up for me. I would say it's slightly nicer than my Mustang. My Mustang's a 2005, this is a 2006. So it's, you know, similar year technology, but the Corvette definitely has the best technology of the time. One of the things that I really love is the heads-up display on this Corvette. Obviously you can't see it right now, but it displays right here. Tells you a lot of information while you're driving, and it's very useful. It's nothing super crazy on the inside here, but I really have come to enjoy it, and it's pretty much just nice and simple. These seats are also actually very, very comfortable. I love these seats a lot, and I think the Z06 stitching really adds a nice little color to it and makes it look a little cooler. Talking again about the technology in this car, you know, like I said, it's not anything super crazy technical, but it does have some pretty good stuff for the time. I do have this screen here, which has navigation and anything I would really need on it, except for I don't have Bluetooth, but that was solved with this tiny little guy right here. Cost me like $12 at Walmart for a pretty decent FM transmitter, so not that big of a deal at all.
So the third pro on this list is going to be about the power behind this car. I have power everywhere. I absolutely love the LS7. It's a beautiful, beautiful motor. It does have some issues, which I'll get into a little bit later, but I have power everywhere that I want it. Through first, through second, third, fourth, and fifth. I can like have power at any point in my RPM range, and that's super, super cool. The 6-speed transmission in this car is very nice. It's very smooth, and I've never had any issues with it at all. So it is very nice that this naturally aspirated beast is going to be able to give you power anywhere in the power band, and you're not going to have to wait for your turbos to spool up or anything like that. Not that I wouldn't enjoy some nice turb skis on this car, but just saying it's cool to have that power everywhere. So in addition to the fact that this car has lots of power, it's also very easy to control. I feel like this is just a straight line missile, and I never feel a lack of confidence behind the wheel while I'm spinning, or spinning through the gears or anything like that. I never feel like I don't have control of this vehicle. That's a very, very cool thing when you're a driver who's becoming confident in the vehicle. This car wants to stay hooked, and it wants to stay straight. It's not like some other vehicles that just kick out their car every time you put a little bit of power behind it. It does instill a lot of confidence in you when you're driving this, and going from a car that had about 300 horsepower to 500 horsepower, I can say I made the transition very well in my opinion. It didn't take a whole lot of time for me to become confident in this vehicle. So my last pro on this list is going to be revolving around the financial aspect of this car. It's not very expensive to take care of. Yes, it is a Corvette, so you do have that Corvette premium on some of the things that you buy, like tires and other parts and whatever you might need. There is going to be that Corvette upcharge because of what it is, but it's no exotic that you have to pay $10,000 just to replace the clutch on. I'm shopping for tires right now, and yes, tires are expensive, but these meats are huge. Like, it's not like this car is crazy astronomical out of the price range like you might expect for some foreign vehicles like a BMW, Mercedes, or Lamborghini or whatever. So with a combination of getting a good value for your dollar for what you're actually buying, and it's not crazy expensive in order to maintain, you're getting the experience of an extreme sports car without having to pay the prices of some extreme sports cars. So that alone is reason enough to buy the vehicle. So now, like everything, it has its cons. And I'm gonna move on to the cons of this vehicle and some of the things that I've noticed during this 90-day period, and some of the things I think that are worth mentioning to you. Some of these things that I'm gonna bring up are not deal breakers at all. I obviously love them and looked past them enough to buy the car and still enjoy the vehicle, but I definitely think they're worth mentioning. So I pointed out some of these things in a video I made previously called 5 Major Problems with the Corvette Z06, but I'm gonna go over a few of these mechanical issues and stuff now. So the first con is gonna be revolving around these headlights. The Corvette headlights, it might be hard to see on camera, but dirt and dust and particles and stuff gets inside here, and when the light shines through there, that can look very kind of gross, that there's just stuff inside your headlights, and it can be kind of annoying. You know, there's nothing you can really do to clean that unless you get all the way inside there. I'm not sure if this is some sort of manufacturer defect where there's like maybe a crack or something that's not sealed, but it's on both headlights, and I've heard that other Corvette owners have had this issue. So the second con that I really have about the mechanical things around this car, this one definitely comes with the territory, but this car is an absolute brake dust machine. Like, these wheels are absolutely disgusting. I'll show you, like, look at that. That's literally all brake dust, and I cleaned this car probably about like 40,000 miles ago. The truth of the matter is that you are always going to have brake dust on your wheels. Yes, I understand when you're going fast, brake dust just happens. I get that, but you know, you're going to be cleaning your car a lot, so understand that. So another mechanical issue, we're going to have to move to the interior for this one. It's going to come up on this heads-up display. So, I'm not sure if you can see this. So, up there in the top right corner, there's just this blank square. There's nothing there. That is where the time clock is supposed to be on this car. So the interior of this vehicle, if you have a stock Corvette with the stock head unit, you can't tell the time off of your car. This is actually a decently common issue with some of these cars. What will happen is the clock will just disappear and it will never ever come back. So you can get like an aftermarket head unit. It's not that expensive. You can shop around, but you're really not going to be spending more than like $200 to $300 on one of these if you really wanted to. And like I said, it's not that big of a deal. You can just look at your watch or whatever else you have to tell the time. But yes, it is a defect in the vehicle that you cannot tell the time in your car. So this is going to be the last con on this list, and this one is actually a very big deal, and you should really take this seriously. So the Corvette in this year, the Z06, has an LS7. The LS7 is a great and amazing motor, except for it has one major issue, and that is a valve issue. The exhaust valves on the car. So when GM produced the car, they used sodium valves, and they're good for performance reasons, but not really reliable at all. And what can potentially happen to your Corvette, and what is, I would say, decently common in the Corvette Z06 world with the LS7, is that the valves will drop. Basically what that means is that they'll drop into the cylinder head and can cause catastrophic failure to your engine. So what a lot of people do is they replace these valves for a more reliable aftermarket part. Now my car has not had this done yet, and it definitely worries me. I purchased this car and I drove it about 2,000 miles, and every mile of those 2,000 miles, I'm very worried that something could happen. I don't know the actual statistics on it happening, but if you do just a little bit of research on the LS7, that'll definitely pop up. I would say it's a pretty well-known issue, but there's not a whole lot that you can do if it happens to you besides just replacing the motor. You're gonna be at least $10,000 to $15,000 out of pocket to fix this if you don't spend the money to fix it now. So yes, I plan on fixing this in about a month. As soon as I can get all the money together and everything ready, I'm going to send this off to the shop to get it fixed. And a lot of people will use that opportunity to build their car at the same time, but it definitely is sitting in the back of my mind every time that I rip on this car, or every time that I drive it just casually, or literally anything. Like, I'm worried that my motor could blow. Like, that is a potential thing that could possibly happen if you have the LS7. So yes, it's an amazing motor, but you should definitely get that fixed. I'm planning on getting mine fixed in about a month, but with everything that has been happening in the world right now, like, I just didn't have the finances to swing it exactly at the moment that I wanted to. So after that is fixed, I would say that this car would be virtually perfect, but that is a major thing that definitely draws a lot of people away from this vehicle. So I would by far say that that is the #1 con of this vehicle. I don't want it to happen to me, and I want to do everything in my power I can to prevent it in the case that it could potentially happen to me. So that's going to be all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned something today, and I hope you were entertained as well. Like always, I hope you have a great and amazing day. Smash that subscribe button, hit like, comment down below. I'll hit each and every single one of you back, and see you in the next one.